This video is going to be a film study look at Tavius Robinson, the Ravens' second-year outside linebacker slash defensive end, who I think is really surging in the last 4 or 5 games. He did have 2 sacks against the Broncos in midseason. I think he played extremely well against the Eagles. I'll show, I think, 3 or 4 examples of plays against them here later in this video. I'm going to package this video with pass rush slash pass plays first and then run concepts later. I do think he's a more adept, more technical run defender at this point than in terms of the actual pass rush moves that have been developed. But you can see all the physical traits that are there. I put together, I think, 11 plays for you guys to check out. This is not a one play Wednesday video, even though it's premiering on Wednesday. I wanted to focus on Tavius Robinson. I feel like you have to at this point. He played a lot more snaps against the Eagles than Odafe Owe, which is interesting. I don't know if that was a result of injury. I haven't been able to keep up with that situation or that dynamic, but I know it was deserved, at least in terms of how many snaps Tavius Robinson was on the field. Would I like to see Odafe Owe get more reps? Of course, because he's so athletic and can make impact plays. At this point, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little surprised at what Tavius Robinson has been able to accomplish. Not because he's not athletic, big, fast, and strong, and certainly very tenacious, but just taking advantage of his opportunities. So like I said, we're going to start with pass rush opportunities first. And a couple of his, at least 3, in 2024 have occurred actually on third and short or goal line situations where he seems to be one of those guys who can adapt in the middle of the play and recognize whether it's run or pass. In this case, 3rd and 1, they're running Jamar Chase out into the flats. And he just plays through contact on this particular snap, but also others as well. Goes down as a sack. I think it's his first sack of the year. Maybe he had a split sack earlier on. But the tight end and offensive line are all working down. Running back is stepping to the inside gaps, presumably to try to help out. And he's just no match for Tavius Robinson's unique blend of size, speed, athleticism. At 6'6", I think 275 pounds, somewhere in that range. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe 265. I think he was listed at 262 when we drafted him. He's a Canadian football player, went to a Canadian university first, then transferred into the SEC. So I think there's a unique dynamic there, to be honest with you. At this point in 2024, I'm not sure if you're aware. I am, because I just finished the research in the film study video. He's got 12 quarterback hits, along with 3.5 sacks this year, playing extremely well. I think he's an underrated element of this defense at this point that really we all probably don't even recognize what the ceiling is thus far. Do the pass rush moves have to be, refined a little bit? Sure, but the effort, the angles, and he stays very balanced. And because he stays balanced, his athleticism and his length allow him to have a great range, if you ask me. The ability to affect plays from a horizontal nature, no matter where they go. It's a boot concept by Jaden Daniels. And, you just see multiple quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Jalen Hurts, on his film, that they're not only are they not able to get the edge, number one, but number two, he's also able to close ground and just make things happen for them faster than perhaps they were probably used to. I think it's because, A, he's a great athlete. He's got all the physical traits, but he also stays very balanced. He doesn't heel tap when he closes down. So his heels don't touch. He stays balanced. Essentially, his cleats are not in the air very long because his steps aren't too damn big. And then when he does put his foot in the ground to burst, I don't know what his 40 was, but I would say he's a very balanced football player, extremely aware, just never out of control, and plays with a physicality level that is persistent, that is consistent. Now, this is a 3rd and 2 against the Broncos. He's down here at the bottom side of the screen. I think it's important as well what Malik Harrison does up here to the top side. I am fine with people call things coverage sacks. It's slightly annoying, but the biggest point about it is still a sack. It's still a sack that counts, and it's still something that a player did in the context of the defense here. I think that it's quite obvious that Malik Harrison jamming up the tight end impacts Bo Nix's read, in that Simpson's able to cover the running back. We are absolutely locked up there, and as a result, Tavius Robinson's, quote, loss from a pass rush win rate turns into a sack. Part of me really doesn't care about pass rush win rate. Really, it's the production. And he had 2 sacks against the Broncos whether you call it a coverage sack or not, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. Look, one of the most important plays in our loss to the Eagles was a coverage sack, whereby the outside linebacker Hunt and Dejean jammed up our routes, Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, and so Lamar was unable to get the ball out there to those guys at all. Took a sack, loss of 14, and lo and behold, Justin Tucker missed the ensuing field goal that he probably doesn't miss if we don't take a sack. Coverage sacks still count. He's off to the left-hand side here. He will come into the screen a little bit more clear for you guys. On this particular play, this is the same play from the end zone angle. It's his tenacity. So he does a nice job of shocking, getting his hands on, and then extending them such that he can escape, even though it's not a clean win, there's no spin moves here. I would say he's a guy who certainly doesn't have refined pass rush moves yet. But because of the sheer tenacity, physicality, definitely his length, his long arms, he's able to play through contact and make plays right. Essentially, he's hitting a lot of singles and doubles, if you will, take a baseball comparison, and he's not getting struck out a lot, nor is he hitting a whole lot of home runs. Off the right side here against Washington, a little bit more of a traditional rush. This is kind of what you get, is him being able to punch multiple times in his pass rush, whether it kind of looks similar to a lot of rushes we saw out of Oweh his first couple of years, whereby there's just an extension of the arms, kind of a bull rush, but still trying to work for the top side. Certainly no rip, and Van Noy winning on the other side complements him, puts him in position to be able to get to the quarterback late, get a quarterback hit. I don't think he's trying to out-finesse guys. I don't think he's trying to make offensive linemen guess. I think he's playing physical, playing downhill, definitely holding the edge against quarterback scrambles or rushes, quarterback trying to escape out of the pocket. We'll move forward a little bit here to run concepts, but the second down play here, not this one, but the ensuing play that I'm going to show you, is technically a pass concept, obviously. He does a great job on this first to goal against the Broncos, disrupting the tight end, essentially putting the tight end's backside into the path of the fullback. Really weird play call by the Broncos, if you ask me, giving the ball to the fullback there against the team and the Ravens. Our defense is really good stopping the run. Tavius Robinson absolutely stacks up the tight end. There's nowhere for him to go, along with Wormley, another underrated football player. We've got another 2 years of Tavius Robinson on a rookie contract. I could see him being a guy that his third year or fourth year gets to an 8 or 10 sacks. He's certainly got to improve the moves, the technicality of the moves. We got the right guy in the building, right, Chuck Smith, to be able to get that accomplished. I think he's already really good against the run. And some of these, quote, anomalous plays where he's able to get to the quarterback, either get a sack or a pressure, I think is just going to bode him well in getting to those 6, 8, 10 sacks in a year if he gets a lot of snaps. Look at the contact balance that you've got here. Steps to the tight end, or shoots his hands out to the tight end, doesn't touch him. Gets a fullback trying to cross his face, tries to get a chip or a piece of him, gets a tailback diving at his knees, able to stay. Look at that. We always call it Ray Rice drill. Get 1 foot, 1 hand in the ground, and then pop back up. And he does it on his next step. I'm going to try to isolate that for you guys so you can see it. Forgive me if seeing things over and over is annoying. I recognize that it is for some people, but when we would watch film on particular players or schemes, we would do stuff like this, and I just think it's impressive when you see him plant and then immediately get up and burst to be able to close distance. Again, it goes down as a pass play, a pass rush, pressure, quarterback hit, whatever, and this is supposed to be the run portion of the video. He's down here into the boundary. It's a jet sweep concept. Trenton Simpson actually gets credit for the tackle here, but this is an interesting rep because he destroys the left tackle, but the left tackle's not really firing off here, so it's a little bit of an unusual play from a Bucs offensive line standpoint. I will give you the end zone angle, but I like this one because it shows the depth that Tavius Robinson resets the line of scrimmage at and absolutely destroys the scheme. I don't think he gets credit for the tackle here. I think it's Jess Simpson with the TFL. End zone angle doesn't necessarily do it justice in the same way. Again, he's to the boundary. Simpson gets credit for the tackle. Like I said, I think Tavius Robinson makes the play. The hand placement is generally pretty good. You can see he's got inside hand position, able to shock the left tackle. It's pretty good left tackle, obviously, by the way, and set his teammate up. In this case, it's Simpson. He doesn't cede ground. He plays downhill. And even when it's horizontal concepts, Tavius Robinson still gains ground, kind of like you saw in a couple of those boot concepts, specifically the one by Jaden Daniels. This is a violent play against the Steelers. He's going to take on the kick-out block by Freiermuth and absolutely upend him. I mean, look at Freiermuth's feet. Essentially, he gets jolted. It looks like someone hits him with a body shot. Again, I'll do the same thing I did a minute ago. Look at the right foot of Freiermuth. Absolutely gets reset. It's in the air. Balance totally destroyed. Tavius Robinson able to shed, make the tackle on Cordell Patterson. Officially goes down as a tackle for loss. Right now, the projection or the path that he's on, it looks pretty good, at least to me. You can let me know in the comment section if you think I'm overstating it. For where we drafted him and what we're getting out of him already in his second year, I think it's a pretty good situation already. His pads are below the pads here. That's why this happens. Violent disruption of the path of the tight end. Completely not only controlling his gap, meaning he's out here, outside arm free, but he's also compressing the space between the tight end and the pulling lineman. Patterson decides to bounce it. Nothing out there either. I'm interested to see how far he can push this level of play. How far can he get in 2024? I think if you just look at this and project it forward to next season and beyond, you can see the ability to get to 6 or 8 sacks with a lot of snaps, a lot of opportunities on the field. What I'm really interested in is this year, how far can he push this? This is another example of him against a tight end, absolutely jacking up the tight end and compressing the inside gap. Yeah, his hands are up under the neck, and I'm not exactly sure if it's legal or not, but he plays in a violent fashion. It's a cool scheme by the Eagles. They are trying to insert the wide receiver, so they're base blocking Tavius Robinson, and the receiver's trying to insert underneath in that C gap. And because he not only controls his gap, but compresses the inside gap, it makes it really easy for, I think, Ardarius Washington and Chris Board to fit it up and hold Barkley to very little gain. Just off your screen to the left-hand side, Ardarius also did a really nice job in this game, fitting things downhill, hand placement on the inside, dominating the rep, compress. Look at how the tight end's getting bowed back into the gap, nowhere for Saquon to go. This is kind of what you get on run concepts where tight ends have to deal with him. I don't know how good of an edge defender he is right now against the run. Like, I think he's good. Is he a 7 out of 10, a 7.5 out of 10, an 8 out of 10 at this point? I'm not sure. I just know that all of the things we're seeing recently from him are trending upwards. Feel free to let me know in the comment section if you agree with that. 2 more plays against the Eagles. Pistol counter option here, where Jalen Hurts is going to open to him, theoretically read him, and then offensive lineman pulling. We run this play, obviously, pistol counter option. One of my favorite plays in the NFL. From the backside, Tavius Robinson's able to track it down, tackle Saquon Barkley for a loss on the play. Just on the right-hand side of your screen, he's going to end up inside of the tight end's alignment. That shows to me his decisiveness and how he's triggered. Whatever his call is, there is no hesitation in Tavius Robinson. He's a guy who, if you draw it, in my opinion, he's a guy who, if you draw it up with a particular reaction from a defensive player, that's what you're going to get. And in this case, it's the tackle pulling away from him. He is gone, chasing it down the line of scrimmage. Yes, later on in the game, did Jalen Hurts keep it on some quarterback option plays, essentially bash? He did, but I don't think Tavius Robinson was the edge defender on either one of those. Last play here, the athleticism. This is a little bit of an RPO look, play action from Hurts. It's the athleticism here for me that I think is noteworthy. Again, staying square, look at the feet, not heel tapping at all. I think his feet almost kind of cross over there. Maybe he thought that Hurts gave the football. Ends up being an incomplete pass that I think Hurts got penalized on on the play. I do like him lined up to the boundary. I like him playing to the boundary more so than to the field. Feet actually do kind of cross over there. I misspoke a moment ago, talking about right here. But at least when the left foot is planting, the right foot is moving away from it. There's no heel tap. There's no shortening of his stance. Keeps a nice wide base. And then once he puts his foot in the ground, he's got the athleticism to get out there and match those quarterbacks. He's got great range. I mean, I think the film shows it. You're welcome to let me know in the comment section how great you think his range is. Do I mean that he lines up on the left and he makes plays all the way over on the other sideline? Well, no. It's within a certain parameters. Athletically, he's not as good as some of the other edge defenders that have been drafted. I think of like a guy like Chop Robinson. Amazing burst, get off, ability to win with speed. Tavius Robinson isn't that guy. He's going to have to get a little bit more technical with his pass rushes, kind of beyond some of my understanding and ability to explain it to you here. But I think this is a great prospect in our second year. I believe he was drafted in the fourth or fifth round. Feel free to correct me there in the comment section. Let me know if you agree with my evaluation and assertion here that I think Tavius Robinson is playing extremely well as we get to later in 2024. And if you share my questions or inquisitions about how far is he going to be able to push this year? Is he going to start to play 30 to 35 reps every single game at the expense of other guys? It certainly seems like right now he's above David Ojabo in the pecking order, certainly above guys like Adisa Isaac. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number one. Number two, if you think other Ravens fans would like to check out my thoughts and some of the film about Tavius Robinson's second year with the Baltimore Ravens, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.